So Karim and I want to share a little story with you guys because as a hand therapist, I know that injuries to the hands can be really devastating, but a lot of times we can have these little injuries and we take for granted that they're actually bigger injuries than it seems, but because they're small little knuckles, we think, oh, it's nothing. So do you want to share a little bit about what happened with your finger?
Well, I injured my finger in March. I believe maybe March 3rd, moving some things. A dresser fell on my hand and, kept moving throughout the day. And later that night, I iced my finger. And after I iced it, the swelling went down, and I continued to work out every day. But I noticed that my finger kept getting swollen repeatedly. So I decided to tape it up myself for like a month. Just tape in the, guy stuff.
Did you Google it? Did you Google it
No.
and say, oh, no?
I worse than Google. I said, someone will tape this up so I could just go through my day. So I wound up taping these two fingers. I had it taped up for like a month, and then I ran into my mother-in-law. She seen my finger. She said, it's broke. I said, how do you know if a finger's broke? She said, I work with a doctor who does hands and surgery. It's broke. So
yeah.
I immediately called the doctor, and I went in and I got an x-ray. The finger was broke. I got my pinky into a pinky cast. I was in there for 8 weeks. And then, I know, pinky cast, right? So it was pathetic. So I was walking around like this, drinking like this. Everybody thought I was bougie.
He's so fancy. He's so fancy.
They thought I was bougie. So finally, I got it off, and he recommended me to come here. And when I first came here, I couldn't move this pinky at all, the whole first day. So I'm able to make a knuckle now. It only
make
been
a fist.
not even make a fist. Haven't even been. I think it's been about a month now. So I'm loving the progress.
Yeah.
I'm able to lift again.
Perfect. So one of the things that happens with the little bones in the fingers is they're so small that when you break them, you can still move, right? You can still move. So people think, oh, well, if it's broken, it's not broken because I can move, right? So that's one. And then in the hand, it's not just about breaking it, but we have little small ligaments or tendons. And one of the things that can happen with that little knuckle is the bone can break, but that the tendon can be broken too. And so your finger falls down, and that's called a mallet finger. Right. And those finger problems can actually become more of a problem, and it takes so long to take care of when we don't take care of them correctly. So you can see that his finger kind of dips down just a little bit. And one of the things that I'm always looking for is can we straighten it all the way? You see that? I can push it straight, but it falls a little bit. If it falls a little bit, it's okay. Sometimes that's just what happens with these kind of injuries, that we can't get it exactly perfect, right? The thing that we're looking for is that we don't get what's called a swan neck deformity. I can show it within my finger. So you don't want this knuckle to fall and then this middle knuckle to go upward, because once that starts happening, if that happens naturally in your hand, that's how your body naturally is. But if your body is not naturally like that, that can actually cause a lot of pain. And in the small finger, this part of your hand gives you a lot of strength, right? So imagine when you couldn't move it or it hurt, you felt like you couldn't lift the super, super heavy weights that you lift, right? So Karim is a personal trainer and more. Where do you train?
I'm an athletic coach and personal trainer, and I do online services for anybody that's not in this state or city. I train in downtown Dayland. And you can find me at FitRockstar24 on Instagram.
Perfect. So he works out a lot, right?
Yes.
So the mentality of a person that works out as much as you work out is no pain, no gain, right? So correct. I hear that a lot. People are like, oh, you got to work through the pain. And that's great and dandy when you have muscle pain, right? When you're mentally, you're I can lift heavier, my muscles need to feel a burn. Right? That kind of pain is different from sharp pain, right? So when sometimes people are doing heavy weights and they feel sharp pain or they feel like they can't lift heavier, it's not necessarily because they can't lift heavier. If they can lift heavier on one side and not the other side, something might be wrong.
Right. And you need to stop.
And you need to stop, and you need to actually get some professional help to
Yes,
fix it so it
see a
doesn't
physician.
become like a bigger issue. And it's one of the biggest things that I see in the hand is people have a tendency to be like, oh, no pain, no gain, I can do it. But sometimes these hand injuries don't kind of surface up until 3 to 4 weeks later, and by then you've already gotten a deformity, and now it's going to just take you longer. So one of the things that I provide is I provide a lot of free information on my website. You can always give us a call and ask us questions. So if you had broken, you're like, I'm not really sure, you know, you could actually like give us a call, talk to us, and then you know, we can give you a little bit more guidance if possible, to get you the help that you need so you don't wait. And because that's a lot of wasted time, right? Especially for someone like you who, you know, you work all the time, and it's like, shit, 8 weeks in a finger cast, being super fancy. Well, thanks. Well, you're doing awesome right now, so we're going to finish out and go through a few things, and thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you.
All right.